What's going on YouTube? What's going on? This regular Ravens fan coming back at you with another video. Trust your eyes. Trust your eyes. So you never had to believe them lies. Look, first of all, shout out to Ravens Nation. You know, we always represent, we always together. So that's that on that. But it took me a while to make this video. This is a video about something I saw that Stephen A. Smith, aka Sleazy A. Simp, something that I've seen him say earlier this week, and it bothered me because this man continues to lie, continues to move the goalposts, continues to do all of those things, and nobody calls him out on it. Finally, some people are starting to, though. I do appreciate that. Like, I appreciate the young lady named Mina. I appreciate Keyshawn Johnson. I appreciate Dan Orlovsky, but I gotta call him out too, because this dude is just a liar, man. It just is what it is. He's a liar. So I want to get into this video, let y'all hear what he has to say, and then I'm gonna expose him for the lie that he is and the hater that he is. So let's get into it.
Let's make sure that we in no way imitate trolls on social media.
Sure.
And here's what I mean by that. Let's make sure we quote folks accurately. I'm not talking about you personally, but let's make sure we quote folks accurately and depict and contextualize what we say. No one watching football would question the greatness of Lamar Jackson. I never did that. I said that Lamar Jackson's phenomenal. I said that Lamar Jackson's box office. I even went so far to say is Josh Allen's got 6 years, $258 million. Shoot, Lamar Jackson deserves more. Because not only is he producing the way that Josh Allen has produced, but he's also box office. Whereas people want to go to football games to tailgate and socialize, get drunk, have a party type atmosphere before you actually go and watch the damn football game. You literally go to a stadium to see this brother perform.
Agree.
Because that's how electrifying Lamar Jackson is. We understand that. Where my critique, more so than criticism, a critique of him comes into play, is that, okay, your real medal is established in the postseason. No matter how good or how great you are, we are going to look for what you do in the postseason to cement whatever legacy you may have. Now, he's got plenty of time to do it because he's in his fourth year, just his fourth year in the league. He's 24 years old, okay?
Let me stop it right there, because I'm going to show you all how this guy has moved the goalposts yet again. This is from this week. So I'm going to show you all some footage of something he said earlier this football season, this summer, right before the season started, actually. It's a conversation he had that had nothing to do with the playoffs at all. See, what has happened is, let me explain first what has happened. What has happened is people came out earlier this year, as they've done every year, and they had this idea that, oh, Lamar Jackson's a finished product. Like, he's only going into his fourth year, but like, they had this idea like he's a finished product. So they wanted to push home the narrative that he can't throw, because they can't say he can't win. You know, they can't say he's not a football player. So they wanted to say, you know what, he can't throw outside the numbers. And if you take away the run, which, again, you're saying take away the run that he is the focal point of. But when you say, if you take away the run, you know, then they can't do anything because he can't throw. So now you move the goalpost to say, you've never said anything like that. You've only said that you want to see what Lamar Jackson can do in the playoffs. It's funny that you say that now, because I'm going to show some tape of something you said that had nothing to do with that. So people, stay with me, please. And the reason I ask you to stay with me is because on this video right here that had nothing to do with the playoffs, let's see what you said. Let's see if you're telling the truth, or if you're moving the goalpost because you've been exposed as being wrong and a hater. So let's see, let's get into it.
My number one criteria is, are you an accurate thrower of the football? Particularly under pressure. I'm not talking about scrambling out of the pocket when you ain't got nothing in front of you and you zipping a pass here or there. And I'm not trying to say he can't throw from the pocket and he hasn't made good throws from the pocket. What I'm saying is, Lamar Jackson has yet to prove that he is an elite passer. And if you are not an elite passer, you are not an elite quarterback. Period.
Let me play devil's advocate. Has he had...
Now, let's stop it right there. He said his number one criteria. Remember, what he said this week was, I've only ever said that we've got to see it in the playoffs. We've got to see it in play. No. You said before the season started, when you were asked, is Lamar Jackson an elite, one of the elite quarterbacks, is he an elite quarterback? You said, my number one criteria, your words, your mouth, my number one criteria is, are you an accurate passer of the football? You said Lamar Jackson's not proven to be an accurate passer of the football, although he has. He's been proven to be just as accurate as anybody else, completing over 60% of his passes in the last 2 seasons, 66 and 64 respectively. This year he's up to 67, but nevertheless, that is pretty good for a quarterback. That's like right. I think league average is somewhere around 66, 65. So that means he's just as accurate as anyone else, right? But you said he hasn't proven that, and now he's come out this year. And he's shown that he can throw the ball with the best of them. He's shown that if his team doesn't do what they do by running the ball down people's throat, if you do load up to take that away, he'll destroy you. He's also shown that even when that was taken away completely and a team knew that he had to pass, go back to the Colts game, because there was no running. You're down 22-3. No one was worried about you running the ball. They knew you were going to throw. And he threw us back into the game and ultimately to the victory by completing 86% of his passes for 442 yards on 43 attempts, the highest ever in NFL history. But you said your number one criteria. You didn't say my number one criteria is how do you perform in the playoffs. So now that you've been called out, now that you've been exposed, you change your words around. Funny how that goes, right? See, this is why I say trust your eyes, because the media, people like him in the media, not the guys who used to wear the uniforms, people like him who don't even know what they're looking at and have no idea what they're looking at, but yet they get paid millions of dollars to tell you like they do. People like him don't know what being a good football player really is. So they move the goalposts. Once they paint a narrative, they've got to stick with it. So you just keep moving the goalposts. I can tell you right now, if Lamar Jackson was to win the Super Bowl this year and win Super Bowl MVP and league MVP for the second time, this brother would come on TV and say, you gotta get multiple championships. I mean, Tom Brady's got 7. I mean, you're not good if you don't. Come on, man. And then let's go back to what he said earlier. Even though I've exposed him for being a liar with his own words, but let's go back to what he said. It matters. It only matters in the playoffs. That's when it matters. Well, why do they keep records? Why do they give an Offensive Player of the Year award? Why do they give a Defensive Player of the Year award? Why do they give an MVP award? All of these awards are regular seasons. Why do they give people Pro Bowl awards and All-Pro first and second team? Why do they do these things if the regular season doesn't matter? Why are people paid based upon what they've done in the regular season if the regular season doesn't matter? And then you talk about, because I could go and show you the rest of the video, but the man says, he's got Josh Allen in front of him. He's got Patrick Mahomes. I have one question. What on earth has Josh Allen accomplished in the NFL that Lamar Jackson hasn't? I mean, are we really saying that he's so much of a better quarterback because he won one more playoff game than Lamar Jackson? Are we saying he's so much of a great quarterback because when they played head-to-head in the playoffs, he and his offense scored 10 points? Because that's what they did. They scored 10 points. The game was decided by a pick six. Let's just call a speed a speed. It was 10-3. The Buffalo Bills offense managed 10 points against the Ravens in that playoff game. 10 points. Lamar Jackson was knocked out of the game. Josh Allen threw for a whole 44 more yards total than Lamar Jackson threw that game. And he played all 4 quarters. But you're acting as if this man is so much higher in ability and accomplishment. Lamar Jackson has won unanimous MVP. Lamar Jackson has led the NFL in touchdown passes. Lamar Jackson is the only quarterback to rush for 1,000 yards in back-to-back seasons, about to make it 3 in a row, barring injury, God forbid. But all of these things that this young man has done, and you all act like, well, people like Stephen A. Smith act like he's like some gimmick player out there. But I go back to your words. Let's talk about the playoffs. Let's talk about what you said. You said it's about what you do in the playoffs. That's what you said. Let's talk about what Lamar Jackson's done in the playoffs. Lamar Jackson's first playoff game, he had 34 yards, his very first one, rookie season. A rookie season in which he only started 7 games. He had 34 yards of passing through 3 quarters. And in the fourth quarter of that very first playoff game, Lamar Jackson threw for 150 plus passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no INTs. His team lost by 6 points, but they had the ball with the chance to win with about 40 seconds left to go in the game on the 40-yard line. He threw them back into the game. In that game, let's go to his second season in the playoffs. His second season starting, his second playoff game. Lamar Jackson threw for 365 yards. He ran for 147 yards. He accumulated more than 500 yards of total offense himself in that second playoff game. But the Ravens lost not because of Lamar Jackson. The Ravens lost because Derrick Henry had a superstar game. Derrick Henry had he had 198 yards rushing touchdown, and a passing touchdown. That has nothing to do with Lamar Jackson. But people like Stephen A. Smith say that because Lamar Jackson, he's got to win in the playoffs. You can't do more than put up 500 yards of total offense. This is a team game. It requires your defense to come too. Your defense got to come play too. Derrick Henry is the reason why they lost that second playoff game. Let's go to the third season. The third season, he won his first playoff game against the very team that he lost to the year before. Why? What was the only difference? The difference in that second game against the Titans in the playoffs was Derrick Henry did not have 200 yards rushing. And therefore, the Ravens were able to be led to a victory by Lamar Jackson. That was the difference. And in the second playoff game last year, he lost the game. He was knocked out of the game. But again, let's put it into context. Before he throws his pick six, what happened? Justin Tucker missed 2 field goals early because it was a very windy game, uncharacteristic of Justin Tucker. He missed 2 field goals. Okay, we still got to play football though. It was 10-3, 10-3. Do you think that if the score was 10-9 that Lamar Jackson forces that pass? No, he doesn't force that pass. But he watched this. Again, context is everything. He watched his kicker miss 2 field goals. His team is down. It's the playoffs. He forced the pass. Guess what? That happens to the best quarterbacks that ever played this game. It happens. A lot of quarterbacks throw interceptions in the end zone. Every quarterback, I believe, has done it at least once in their career. So yes, he did that. But then he comes back, he does nothing but get better every year, and people like Stephen A. Smith keep hating on him. I just wanted to show you all the hypocrisy, the lies, the moving of the goalposts that this man does. Do not let him off the hook. He's trying to get off the hook now because he's going to say something, right? He's going to put a team accomplishment in the way of giving Lamar Jackson credit for being a good football player. Winning in the playoffs takes a team effort. Winning a Super Bowl is a team accomplishment. Lamar Jackson's only a part of the team. He's a huge part, but he's only a part of a team. You have to look at how the individual player plays to evaluate the individual player. Period. That's the period you should be saying. Not he's got to win in the playoffs. No, the team has to win in the playoffs. Lamar Jackson has to play well enough to help his team win because that's all he can do. And I'm not acting like he's not a huge part of the Ravens, but I'm saying that you cannot say that if the Ravens lose a game, you cannot say that every loss is because of Lamar Jackson. You just can't say that. Yes, the loss against the Bills, he did throw the pick six. That was a 14-point swing that we ultimately lost that game. But there was football after that. He just didn't get to play. By the way, that drive that he threw the pick six, he threw the ball to get us all the way down the field. That's what he did. And I'm not even going to talk about the drops that the Ravens seem to suffer from. I'm not even going to talk about that because I'm not here to pick apart the players that I root for, the players that I like. I'm not here to do that. But I am going to defend Lamar Jackson against haters like you, liars like you, and people who move the goalposts like you. People have gone on national TV. It's funny. Regular Ravens fans have been saying this for years about people in the national media moving the goalposts on Lamar Jackson. People have gone on national TV and started to call you out about it. You think maybe you want to switch up your tone? You think maybe you want to change your narrative? Nope. You dig in further. You go further with the goalposts. That shows everyone that there will be no end to it. You will never just say, look, I was wrong, the guy's good. That's all. That's all you gotta do. He doesn't have to be your favorite player. But to go on national TV and speak to people who don't get an opportunity to watch the man play and paint narratives in their mind is wrong. And I got to keep calling you out for it. So I just wanted to bring this to you all to let you know, regular Ravens fan is here not to let him off the hook. And nobody in Ravens Nation should. Shout out to Engraving Videos. Shout out to All 22. Shout out to Simply 410 Sports. You guys do an amazing job. Shout out to Ravens Nation. Shout out to all real football fans who really trust their eyes. Because me, regular Ravens fan, I'm going to be Ravens for life. I'm going to always support and I'm going to always defend my quarterback against haters like Sleazy A. Simp. Man, this regular Ravens fan, I'm Ravens for life. I apologize you all, but this dude upsets me to the 10th power. We out here.